Here is everything you need to know about Need for Speed Unbound. Jumping straight into the visuals, as this will more than likely be the biggest feature fans want to know about, Unbound has photorealistic car models, making this Need for Speed game look the best it ever has. The world visuals are just out of this world, as you can see from the trailer as it plays in the background, with lights reflecting off buildings, full-on detail in both the road environments and the buildings surrounding, as well as all of the effects that play out whilst you're driving. The fact that people are actually saying this looks like a mobile game is beyond cringe. If a mobile game look this good, let me know where I can find that, man, because I need that. The game will feature anime/cartoon styled characters with a similar resemblance to what Fortnite has with their animated characters that feature within the game. At first glance, I was kind of thrown off by it from the couple of screenshots we saw, but looking at them in the trailer, they honestly don't look bad at all and fit in very well with the gameplay. There's also graffiti and cartoon effects when you're driving, drifting, or traveling through the air, with various different crashes and bangs coming off, as well as different kind of symbols depending on what you're doing. So for instance, if you go through the air, there'll be some wings that will pop out of the side of your car, and to be honest, it actually looks pretty cool. Onto the graphics part, as expected, Need for Speed Unbound will run in up to 4K at 60 frames per second using the all-new Frostbite engine, which also means that it's finally a Need for Speed game on console that is 60 frames per second again. It was pain playing all of the Need for Speed games on the Xbox One or PS4 that were limited to 30 FPS. Racing games need to be in 60 FPS, so we finally have that with Unbound. Now moving straight onto the gameplay, there is so much to talk about, so bear with me as I try and get through everything for you. So the game is going to be set in Lakeshore City, resembling Chicago, so expect a mix of tight city environments, urban outskirts, dockyards, and hilly or cliffside areas. There's actually 8 key areas that have shown up on the website. For some reason, number 2 isn't visible, so I can't confirm what it is, but the rest of them are as followed. Riddles Riders, which is the starting safe house within the game, so this is where you'll first begin. I'll go into more detail about that later. City Pier, which is located at Underwood Gardens. Rudiger's safe house, which again is just another safe house location, which is located at Yams Park. This also looks to be more of an urban, outskirty kind of setting as well. Car Plant, which is located at the Kennedy Test Track. I mean, I don't need to say any more. We have a test track within Need for Speed Unbound, which is going to be so sick. It's described as having a bunch of twisting corners, a slick courtyard for drifting, and jumps to also test the wings on your car. So this is probably going to be an all-round kind of test track. So if you want to test top speed, for instance, you can do it here. If you want to drift, you go here. Like, man, this is so cool. Quarry Dome, which is more on the outskirts of the map at the Lakeshore Quarry. Kind of self-explanatory. It is a quarry-based environment, so expect lots of dirt, hills and stuff around, as well as like maybe some construction vehicles like cranes, dump trucks and so on. The L train, which as you can see from the image is obviously the subway train. This is in the heart within Lakeshore's main city environment, and just from this alone, it looks absolutely stunning. Like, look how good this render is of the game. Like, bruh, well, when I saw this for the first time, it just absolutely blew me away. It looks so good. And then lastly, we have Mountain Road, which is located at Kennedy Drive. And again, with the visuals, just look how stunning this environment looks. Look at the massive bridge going across. Oh my god, like, this one's probably thrown me off the most actually out of all the images so far. It looks absolutely stunning, and you can even see the city in the background if you look close enough. So those are all of the locations around Lakeshore. Now for the rest of the gameplay details. So when it comes to racing, they're actually race day style events during the day, and then during the night they're more underground or street racing type of vibes, which we've had of course in Need for Speed games before. Car meets are now a feature within the game where you can race against other players both offline within the story mode and online against real players. Having a quick look as well through the trailer, it seems to be confirmed that drift events will be a feature within the game. There was a rumor that said they weren't, but by the looks of it, you can see a car drifting, you can see cones organized around it, so surely that indicates they're back. Unbound also features a fully narrative story mode, which starts you at the bottom of the underground scene following 2 friends torn apart by a robbery at a family auto shop, which leaves your player starting from the bottom and trying to work their way up to claim a priceless car by winning the ultimate street race. Every character within the story is a full character, meaning they have story arcs, own customization and personality, and you can even find them driving around in the open world. Potentially you could challenge them to races as well, as we've seen before. ASAP Rocky is even going to be a main character within the story as part of a takeover scene where players work together to take over part of Lakeshore City. You can also see him in the trailer multiple times, and closer to the end he actually says to the player's character that you're basically racing for pink slips. If you win, you take the cover car. The handling and physics are described as the best in a Need for Speed, which is really, really good news for us. Obviously, the handling and physics have been all over the place over the years in Need for Speed games, but now they've finally knuckled down and hopefully made something that no one will complain about or works really well within the game. Obviously, we'll have to wait and see when we get a full reveal of just pure gameplay. There's also apparently a different feel between the different vehicles. Say if you're driving a car that's on the slower end, it will obviously feel a bit ruggedy, whereas if you're driving something a lot quicker, it will really react to how you move within the game. Tuning is also reworked, which fans will love. They haven't gone into too much detail yet, but they've just said it's, you know, been completely redone for this game. When you do race events in the open world, you actually have to buy yourself into the event in order to participate. So say if the race is $30,000 to get into the race, you have to make sure you give that up front. Obviously, if you lose, you then lose that money, whereas if you win, you'll get a larger payout of your money coming back to you, as well as whatever the prize reward was. As well as that, every single race event you do gives your car heat, meaning that if you do multiple events in a row, you'll build up more heat, but also more cash, which then leads to, if you get busted, you'll take a massive hit and more than likely lose a lot, if not all, of the cash that you've built up from all these races. So yeah, be very careful when you're doing that. The ultimate goal of the story itself is to get to the top by completing weekly qualifiers. By doing so, this gets you to the Grand, which is Lakeshore's ultimate street racing challenge. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Pro Street, obviously, where you have to go through the different kind of events to get you to the final boss events. So yeah, definitely giving me those vibes there. As expected, cops are also a main feature within Unbound. Looks to have a high heat level system like prior Need for Speed games with full-on roadblocks, helicopters and spike strips. Each type of cop car will also have its own strength and weaknesses, meaning some of them, like the Crown Vic for instance, may be a lot weaker compared to some of the large trucks that you'll come up against. You can also choose to deal with aggressive cops or play the story more relaxing, depending on how you want to go through it, of course, with a police scanner and spotting system, as well as using the heat level. So say if you don't want to deal with too many cops, you go and lower your heat level, whereas if you're not really too bothered and you want to have a good challenge on your hands, you just keep that going up and the cops will get a whole lot worse. And the creative director at Criterion actually ended off this part about the story saying, if I was to boil down everything up to what we're trying to do here, we are trying to make the player feel like an illicit street racer and make crazy bets like an illicit street racer and feel the highs, lows and thrills of what it means to kind of embody that fantasy. So that means this story mode is just going to be completely action packed. It's going to be like the old school Need for Speed games, which I'm sure so many fans are going to be excited to hear. So yeah, that is all of it for the gameplay and the story. Now let's jump into the cars and the customization. So Need for Speed Unbound has the best customization and the largest car list to date. There's currently 144 confirmed cars at launch. I'm not too sure if this is going to be the final car list or if they are going to add some more cars maybe beforehand, but either way, that is a lot. This car list also includes lots of new and returning cars to the franchise which fans have asked for, but unfortunately there is still no Toyota, and this time there's actually no Audis within the game. I don't really understand what's going on. I know Toyota don't want their cars to be around street racing, but they're also in other street racing kind of games, so I don't really understand that, but whatever. Bit of a weird one with Audi as well, but maybe it might just be a licensing issue, so hopefully we will see them in the game at launch or at the latest in an update post-launch. As for customization, you can customize your ride to be the ultimate car of your dreams. There's thousands of brand new customization parts as well as all new body kits that will feature within the game. And as mentioned in a previous video, there is also a tier system like Forza Horizon that is confirmed. For those of you that haven't played Forza before, the tier system system is like, for instance, A class, S1 class, and then S2 class being at the top. So something like this will feature within Need for Speed Unbound. There's also character customization and appearance options, so you can change your character to whatever you like. You can also dress them in your own style. Literally, there's going to be so many options for that. So if you're into that kind of thing, you're going to love this. Moving on to the multiplayer, of course, it's going to be back within Need for Speed Unbound, allowing you to go into online free roam with other players, complete race events, and have an overall great time. A banner style system is in place to show off in-game photos or achievements, and it's also said that free content updates are also confirmed post-launch, which will feature both in multiplayer and within the single-player story. And yes, to those of you wondering, crossplay is also a feature at launch on Need for Speed Unbound, meaning you can play on Xbox, PlayStation, and PC together. The release date for Need for Speed Unbound is Friday, the 2nd of December 2022 for the standard edition at £69.99 or $69.99, and then Tuesday, the 29th of November for the Palace edition, which is $79.99 or $79.99. The Palace edition also includes some extra bonus in-game DLC like cosmetics, different effects and stuff like that. And then finally, with the platforms, Need for Speed Unbound releases on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series consoles and PC with Origin, Steam and the Epic Store. PS5 and Series X will run at a native 4K at 60 frames per second, where Xbox Series S will run at 1280p at 60 FPS. I'll also pop the PC requirements up on screen now, showing both the minimum and recommended requirements if you are to buy it on PC. Yes, as you can probably see, you will need a pretty tanky computer to run this game. This is everything we know so far about Need for Speed Unbound, with plenty more gameplay and details coming real soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you again in another video. Peace.